driven by Sagicor Bank is 7 o'clock.
Coming up in CVM News, faith over fear. Worshippers return to sanctuary after deadly church shooting. Policing under scrutiny as body-worn camera controversy heats up. And hope on the Hill Spicy Grove project officially opened. In news overseas, chaos in Washington. Trump a likely target in dinner gun scare. And later on in sports, big win for Harborview over Montego Bay United. Hello from Kingston, Jamaica. This is CVM News at 7 for Sunday, April 26, 2026. I am Carolyn Brown. Thanks so much for joining us. The Montego Bay New Testament Church of God in St. James is choosing faith over fear just days after a deadly shooting shook its foundation. 36-year-old Cora Thompson was gunned down during a midweek service, leaving other worshippers traumatized. On Sunday, the congregation was determined to stand firm against wrongdoing. Akib Orit continues to track that story.
We will not use our mouths and we will not use our hands. We will just pray. The declaration from Bishop Ruel Robinson, pastor of the Montego Bay New Testament Church of God, where 38-year-old Cora Thompson was shot and killed Wednesday afternoon. Days later, the church doors are open again. Worshippers returned in black, lifting praises despite the pain still hanging in the air. But behind the worship, there is unease. The pastor admits fear has now gripped the congregation, with many still searching for answers.
It is not just an attack on our sister, but also it is a strategic attack on the church locally and universally. It is a spiritual attack. The devil intended to dent the can of the church. But as it was said, Jesus said, upon this rock, I will build my church, and the gates of hell. Come on, the gates of hell.
Yet in the midst of that fear comes a message of unity and spiritual strength. Bishop Robinson says when the church prays together and stands united, fear loses its power.
We will not fight with our mouth. We will not fight with our hands. Come with me now. We will not hire a man for additional help. All we have to do, just pray. Come on, church, just pray.
He also describes the attack as a spiritual battle, but adds that what happened will not force the church into silence or surrender.
The Church of God is a crazy old army fighting to win at all times. We will use this opportunity, though tragically it is, to pull us closer to the Lord and to strengthen our resolve to move forward in the name of the Lord.
And as the church continues to heal, scripture is now at the center of its response. Psalm 121, a prayer of protection and assurance.
I will look unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help. Everybody say, my help cometh from the Lord, who is the maker of heaven and earth.
Akeem Oret for CVM News.
And in the corporate area, Councillor for the Hughenden Division Andrew Harris says murders have been reduced significantly in the area, crediting local initiatives and law enforcement for contributing to the improvements in safety, while acknowledging there is more work to be done. Crystal Williams has that report.
According to the councillor for the Hughenden Division, Andrew Harris, the last fatal shooting was 3 months ago. Before then, the division was murder-free for a year and a half.
Well, I must say I'm pleased that the crime rate has trended way down. We had the last time we had a fatal shooting was just 3 months ago, but it was an unbroken spell for about a year and a half, going into 2 years, which was very good. We are not sure who killed the young men, but one thing I can tell you for certain is that the level of crime has fallen, including murders.
Along with the shooting, the councillor says the division is not yet perfect. Nevertheless, the crime reductions have been noticeable.
We still have challenges with people stealing cars, but in terms of murders and break-ins, we've had a drastic reduction. And I'm not the police, but I'm just telling you from the councillor's desk. The reports that I would have gotten, it has reduced drastically.
He says this decrease is thanks to the work of the Prime Minister and the security forces. He rates their process on a scale of 1 to 10.
We know we have room for improvement. I will give him a solid 8. It is a contributory factor from the excellent job that the Prime Minister and his team, led by Horace Chang, is doing, and the Commissioner of Police, with the overall trajectory of crime going down. And we have gotten our share of that, where we have had almost, with the exception for that murder that I was telling you about, for the better part of 2 years, a crime-free, especially murder-free, Hughenden Division.
He is encouraging those in the division to confide in him and the security forces if they witness trouble in their communities.
I'm always appealing to the residents of the Hughenden Division to tell what you know, and I say to them oftentimes, privately and publicly, if you are afraid, say to me. That's my job. I will say to the relevant persons.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
However, the controversy over the use of body-worn cameras by police during armed operations is growing. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang has suggested the devices may not be suitable in active fire situations, a stance being challenged by the National Integrity Action. Akeem Oret continues to monitor that development.
The debate surrounding body-worn cameras for the police has intensified following comments from National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang suggesting that their use in active fire situations may not be practical. That position has drawn sharp concern from the Independent Commission of Investigations and civil society advocates who argue that such technology is critical for transparency and accountability. The minister went further, describing calls for police to wear body cameras during armed operations as, quote, a crazy idea. But Principal Director of the National Integrity Action, Dr. Gavin Mars, says that position is not supported by evidence.
We think that the minister's position is not supported by the facts in Jamaica, nor globally, and we think the minister's well, we hope he's out on his own in his speech, and that's why we're asking for the Prime Minister to speak, to add some clarity, to make the voice of the cabinet and the government, the official position out, because we think that the government of Jamaica wants the best for all Jamaicans, and we know that the government of Jamaica works in the best interest of us all. So we understand that openness, transparency, and the use of devices that supports this is something that they all agree on. So we just think that maybe the minister was speaking contemporaneously, just off on his own. So we are hoping that the minister and the Prime Minister would now speak on this and say, okay, this is what we're saying.
Despite the minister indicating that decisions on deployment rest with the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Mars argues that the government still plays a key role in setting policy direction and ensuring proper governance frameworks.
I am very certain that Minister Chang understands the difference between what we're calling for in terms of the policy directions and the support of policy directions and operational directions. I'm very certain that he understands that, and in any way, we hope he's not trying to muddy the water there, because there's a difference. And it's concerning this approach that he's trying to push. But we also are heartened by the fact that the Commissioner Blake himself has said that body-worn cameras is a part of what it is that the JSAF has committed to doing.
The issue is further complicated by what appears to be conflicting positions within the security leadership. Earlier this year, Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake indicated that body-worn cameras would be used in planned police operations. However, the minister's recent comments suggest otherwise. According to Dr. Mars, such contradictions risk undermining public confidence in the country's oversight systems.
Planned operations are something that the Jamaica Constabulary Force and their planners have control over. But even more than just having control over it, they are using this as a tool in ensuring that persons who are violent sometimes, or just ensuring that this can happen. So if you have the availability of body-worn camera and other information like this, it allows you to make your planning better, but it also allows you to make your execution better. And even more, we have shown that the body-worn cameras in a place of low trust, that has been happening, it builds a space that people can understand that, okay, there is evidence that it can be shared, both sides.
Dr. Mars maintains that the use of body-worn cameras is essential in strengthening accountability and improving trust between the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the public.
Our Jamaica Constabulary Force is the one we have, and security not only have police in it, also has citizen relationships. And if we have citizen relationship, we can build through policing and other ways to have a better, safer and secure community.
Indicom reports 105 people have been shot and killed by security forces so far in 2026. Data also show that police planned operations accounted for roughly half of all fatal police shootings last year. Reporting for CVM News, I'm Akeem Art.
To some other news now, development has no color. The word there from Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness as he officially opened the Hills of Spicy Grove project at a ribbon-cutting ceremony in Aracabessa, St. Mary, pointing out every Jamaican has equal claim to the tax revenues of the country. Here's more from Marjorie Gordon.
A new era of resettling is the message being heralded by the Prime Minister. And with this new era, he says there is no reason for citizens to fear the government intervening to improve communities.
None of the people here can say they were displaced. None. None of the persons there can say, I am worse off because the government came in and regularized the community. I want all Jamaicans to appreciate that we are in a new era of resettling Jamaica.
He points out that community members can be proud of the developments that have happened so far.
Spicy Grove is just one of several communities that we are intervening in to improve your condition. I well understand the issues that you face regarding settlement. Every Jamaican wants a house. They want a roof over their head that they can call their home. It is a dream that I identify with myself. That's why I say I am the builder.
He reiterates that it is not his intention or that of members of his administration to dispossess people, but
because we have had 50 years or more of informal settlement, which are disorganized, when we intervene, we will have to reorganize the settlements, but on the basis that no one is made worse off by the reorganization.
Authorities have retrofitted and upgraded the Bellefield Health Center dental clinic in keeping with plans to modernize 82 oral health services by 2030. Now, Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton says the aim is to introduce a more efficient system while reducing inequitable access to oral health care. Natasha Williams reports.
Staff and patients at Bellefield Health Center and Dental Clinic are celebrating its reopening and upgrades, which will expand access to dental and medical care in the community. Orthodontist Dr. Susan Gray welcomes the dental unit renovation as her brainchild project and believes the upgrade will make dental care more durable, functional, and affordable.
This clinic is more than walls, chairs, and equipment. It's the lifeline, because the reality is not everyone can afford to go to private dental care, and clinics like this, they matter. Their safety nets, their access, their dignity, and more importantly, they are an opportunity to reach children early, an opportunity to educate, an opportunity to prevent disease before it even starts. Because if we can change oral health habits in our children, we can change the future of entire communities. That is the true purpose of Bellefield.
Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, who was also in attendance, says Jamaicans suffer from a sweet tooth culture, and as such, some taxes, like the sugary drink tax, are imposed to prevent certain behaviors.
All of us have a sweet tooth. Jamaica is a country of sweet tooth. And sweet tooth eventually means rotting tooth. And rotting tooth means you have to correct it, whether through extraction, filling, cleaning, and if you don't, as Dr. Mackenzie says, it leads to other health issues.
As a result, Dr. Tufton notes 82 oral health dental clinics across Jamaica under the government's program will benefit from key infrastructure and equipment upgrades through this ongoing partnership. Dr. Chanel Dempster-Peart, regional dental surgeon at the Southern Regional Health Authority, stressed the importance of this initiative, noting that poor oral health can also impact productivity.
When someone experiences pain and their productivity is affected, that's not good. When their sleep at night is affected before they can get access to the care, that's not good. And if it is that the person loses a tooth, they sometimes lose those in the front. And it's not as pleasant a sight when they need to go to work. And so they may shy away from attending work, and they will lose job opportunities, and that's not something we want.
Dr. Tufton urged residents to encourage traditional practices which promote good health, and he said he hopes more men will be encouraged to take their overall health seriously.
Women must put their men under pressure through denial of benefits, whatever those benefits are, until they get the checkup. And I'm saying it with very straight and seriousness of purpose, because the statistics say men live 4 years less than women. Chances are your husband is going to die before you. And if he did his checkup, chances are he would live a little longer with you.
Natasha Williams, CVM News.
And major upgrades and possibly a full rebuild are on the horizon for the Seaforth Health Center in St. Thomas as the government moves to strengthen primary health care and ease the pressure on hospitals.
In a parish on the brink of transformation, healthcare is being called to rise with it. From narrow waiting spaces to growing populations, the Seaforth Health Center now stands at a crossroads where demand meets decision. Health Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton, touring the facility, says what was once a modest expansion may now become something far greater.
However, we are reviewing those plans, because we believe that the facility can benefit from a greater level of expansion. That would include lifting the roof, adding more space for waiting, adding more service areas for the doctors and for the staff, and also increasing the number of times per week that doctors are present. So that's the idea.
Serving some 25,000 residents with doctors visiting just twice weekly, the center is already feeling the strain of a growing St. Thomas.
It's a facility that has approximately 30 employees. Doctors come twice a week. They have a dental chair. They serve about 25,000 population and growing. And of course, the road is repaired now, more people moving into the area. There are a lot of reasons why we have to now upgrade the infrastructure. Now, the facility was originally in line for a minor expansion, which is to add pharmacy and to expand the dental area. And that almost has started.
But this is more than bricks and mortar. It's about shifting the front line of care closer to the people.
We have to do more outreach, and we have to provide the services to our citizens at the level of health centers before they get to hospitals. And we do that now, but we really need to expand that. That's why we have Operation Refresh, which started a year or so ago, which is upgrading a number of health centers. That's why we have added more doctors and nurses, more services, so that we deal with the people at the level of their community.
Meanwhile, the minister is also raising concern about contaminated sugar, now under investigation, warning that public health must come first.
But when it is widespread and it places multiple individuals at risk, we have to take action. So the decision was taken to warn the public, because not everybody is going to be as observant in using the sugar, to discard what they have. We did state the batches. It was carried in the print media. Unfortunately, it wasn't carried in the release, because you have a batch, manufacturing batch number. Okay. So what we have said in the release is just that you must throw away what you have, discard what you have.
Akeem Oret for CVM News.
Farmers in New Forest, Manchester are relieved the Agriculture Ministry has announced efforts to address a glut affecting one of their main crops. With more, here's Marjorie Gordon.
Slow and very stagnant. Felt like things basically stalled.
That's how farmers felt before the Ministry of Agriculture stepped in to save their produce and their livelihood. But now hope has arrived with an intervention strategy to treat with the oversupply of scallions. The Agriculture Minister explains the response crafted by the ministry to help farmers.
The Ministry of Agriculture has provided transportation to transport the scallion to our agro-processors, therefore removing that cost and allowing the agro-processors to purchase and to do what they do best, which is process. We are today moving over 31,000 pounds of scallion, which is part of a larger intervention that will move in total 600 pounds of scallion, that is incorporating about 5 agro-processors across the country working in tandem with the ministry.
So now some 600,000 pounds of scallions will be bought from the New Forest Park.
We worked with RADA and the Ministry of Agriculture to coordinate efforts across the agro-processing sector. We also had a farmers market where we invited farmers to participate there last week. So a number of different initiatives are happening to move this product as quickly as possible. It's the season when they have the most production coming into the market, and it's important that we create the linkages that will support them in converting the product to cash.
But while these measures are being taken, farmers still believe more permanent plans should be implemented.
We appreciate that initiative for the temporary solution, even though we are inquiring for a permanent solution, so we are not in this position for the next growing year or for the rest of this year.
The Government of Jamaica, in collaboration with the World Bank Group, has launched the World Bank Report on Digital Financial Inclusion and Transformation in Jamaica. The country's progress in digital finance was explored, with policymakers outlining strategic pathways for achieving full financial inclusion. Crystal Williams has the details.
The Global Findex database in 2021 placed Jamaica with Nigeria and the Philippines, showing weak digital financial system performance. Now, a partnership between Jamaica and the World Bank is helping to fix that. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says there is now greater investment, genuine innovation, and a refusal to be constrained by outdated processes and governance that move slower than the economy.
That is precisely why we are establishing the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority. Construction at the scale and speed required cannot be managed through ordinary administrative channels at ordinary administrative speed. NARA's mandate is clear: move fast, coordinate across institutions, cut through bureaucracy without cutting corners, and deliver results that are visible to the people who most need them. At the center of that transformation is digital capability.
According to Practice Manager of Financial Inclusion and Infrastructure at the World Bank, Harish Natarajan, financial inclusion unlocks economic development, and jobs are unlocked when new business and distribution models for financial services are enabled.
This is about having a positive orientation towards innovation, and then, of course, reflecting that in their role as champions and catalysts. And developing appropriate innovation frameworks in the country, using which new players can enter, new business models can be introduced in the market.
Minister of Efficiency, Innovation and Digital Transformation Audrey Marks highlighted findings of the World Bank report that show over 70% of adults having access to a bank account, but only half of Jamaicans actually using digital payments for their transactions. She says many Jamaicans are fearful of disclosing their personal financial data, but she says the government is determined to protect their personal data.
The fear of taking up digital tools and pushing for more financial inclusion is really hampered by the fear. Will my data be protected? And so it's very important that the citizens of this country know that we are not just pushing in one direction of having more digital tools, but we are also building safeguards along the way to protect citizens' data and citizens' rights overall in the financial ecosystem.
To that end, Dr. Holness says the obligation of leaders is to ensure that Jamaica becomes stronger, more connected, and more prepared than last year.
The true test of leadership is whether moments of disruption are transformed into opportunities for advancement. The question is whether we do this with the systems and standards of the past, or whether we use this moment to embed digital infrastructure, resilient design, and modern governance into the foundations of the Jamaica we are building forward.
Crystal Williams reporting for CVM News.
And a look now at what's happening elsewhere in the region as well as internationally.
We begin with the news from Trinidad and Tobago. Minister of Works and Infrastructure Jerlyn John is reaffirming the government's commitment to cracking down on crime. Speaking at the UNC Congress in Cova South on Saturday, Minister John criticized the previous administration, accusing it of normalizing violence and failing to act decisively. More from TTT Live.
You know, when we got into office, we were drowned in crime. Crime was everywhere. This year, we had over 200 murders less. We are them arguing as if they have to deal with La Perouse Cemetery. Like the vex that crime gone down by almost 50%. Again, the Prime Minister, as the head of the National Security Council, the two ministers of national security with different roles, our Honorable Attorney General, and all those associated with the crime fight. We have brought that down, and we are not satisfied. We are not interested in our people just being killed by murder. We are going to continue to fight.
Minister John said the current government is taking a firmer stance against the country's crime scourge and will continue working to ensure a safer Trinidad and Tobago.
We're going to fight harder because when one citizen is murdered in this country, it's one too many.
In international news, President Donald Trump and his officials were the likely targets of a suspected gunman who attempted to storm the White House Correspondents' Dinner. The suspect, 31-year-old Cole Allen, was arrested after police said he opened fire near a security checkpoint during the event at a Washington, D.C. hotel on Saturday. We hear more from the BBC.
The dinner had only just begun. Scarcely had we finished the first course when chaos and panic erupted. At first, the President and First Lady seemed unaware, their table at the far end of the room from where the shooting was taking place. But as people began to dive under tables and this official